So I have a bunch of survey information here, and I'm going to give you some tips as to how to process information you either collect yourself or find online and use it for any type of projects you're going to be using in the future. Now, in this survey, we've got a number of categories, and some of them are numerical and some of them are categorical. And we can actually take a look at how we can actually put this in a table to make this a little bit easier. Now, starts in A1, and if we go down to the bottom of this table, goes down to K1607. And so there's a fair bit of information in this spreadsheet. So first thing, in order to deal with it a little bit better, what I'm going to do is put it into table form. So now I've clicked somewhere in the table, and you'll notice that outside of this, I don't have any other information that is either above or below or to the side of the information I want in the table. And also there cannot be any blank rows within the table. There has to be at least one. You can have blank cells, but there has to be at least one entry in all of the rows within the table. So now I'm going to go back up to the top, select a cell in the Home tab of Excel. You're going to go over to Format as Table and choose a table that you like. And it comes up with everywhere from, so the table is going to take the range of A1 to K1607. And I have checked in the box, my table has headers, which is the headings up here that I want to include. And I'm going to press OK. And so it automatically tabulates all the information. And you'll notice that we've got some filters here. And so if I want to take a look at, let's say, Republicans. And so what I can do is I can actually highlight all this information. So I can take all the survey data from the people that identified themselves as Republican, and I can copy this into a new sheet if I like. And if I want to work on that or take a look at that any further, I can do so. So I'm going to create a new worksheet and paste my information in. And you'll notice, so this is just all the information about people that have identified themselves in the survey as Republican. Now, if I go to the bottom and let's say I want to rename this, and this would be a good idea for any of the projects you hand in, instead of creating all new worksheets, I can just so Republican, and if I wanted to do another one for Democrat, I could do so as well. So I can rename this worksheet survey. And going back up to the top here, I can now clear the information in my filter. I could also include other categories. So let's say I wanted to include all of the Republicans and all the independents. I can filter for those two variables. And I can also clear the filter by selecting select all. And so I'm back to the table that I started with. So now let's say we're interested in looking at the number of people in this survey and determining what they identified as their education. And so we have here high school, bachelor, graduate, and so forth. Now we have 1,606 entries here. So if we want to go through and count that up, it would be quite an onerous task. And so what I'm going to do is select the column, and I'm going to go to the Data tab and click on Advanced Filter. And you'll notice that I've got my list range, which is C1 to C1607. And I want to copy to another location. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this into cell N1. And I'm going to put in unique records only, which will include all the any category that they have identified themselves in the survey will show up here. So then I'm going to click OK. And I get my title, which is degree, and high school, bachelor, graduate, not high school and junior college, as what people have selected as their education level. So now, next thing I'm going to do is I want to know how many people in this survey have identified themselves as having high school, bachelor, etc. So the easiest way to do this, besides counting, of course, is by using the Excel function COUNTIF. So I'm going to type equals COUNTIF. Now my range is going to be the data in the table, so I'm going to hover over top of the column till I get that black arrow pointing down, click, and I'm going to put in comma, and my criteria is going to be N2. Now, instead of typing out high school as my criteria, you'll see in just a second why that's a big advantage, is I'm going to press enter, and I get returned 840. So if you went through and counted how many people said that they had a high school diploma, you would end up with 840. Now, I could redo this again for bachelor and so forth, but what I'm going to do instead is if I copy this down, you'll notice now that it says COUNTIF in the range of C to C, which is this column of my table, is bachelor, which is what's contained in cell N3. And so the total is 253. So I can keep copying down, and every time I do, it reads the cell beside it to the left. So now I have all the information from the chart, from this survey, and I can easily now put this into a bar graph. And so what I'm going to select here, and Excel does not call what we call a bar graph, it calls it a column. So I'm going to select Insert, and I'm going to select Clustered Column. And I can rename this Education Level. And so now here gives us a visual representation of how many people have what particular level of education. Now this should be separated because this is nominal categorical data. So we don't want it to be joined together as a histogram because it is not continuous. Now, if we wanted to do the same thing numerically, we could look at number of TV hours, and I could do the same thing. So this would be more of a continuous data, even though they probably were asked how many hours, and people gave a discrete value of 1, 2, 3, or 4, etc. So again, what you do is I'm going to highlight that column, go to Data, Advanced Filter, and I want to change this now to G, and I want to copy to another location, and my location's going to be then, I'll do it to R1, unique records only, and I'm going to press OK. And it gives the number of hours. So we have a blank here. Someone didn't put any, so I'm going to delete that. And I'm also going to sort the data. And so now I can actually put in equals count if, and my range is number of TV hours, and so 61 people said that they watch no TV a week, and up to one person said that they watch 24 hours of TV a week. And again, what I can do, and we're going to treat this like discrete data because they were asked to pick a whole number, obviously, because nobody put down 7.5 hours. So I'm going to insert a chart, and we'll do that as a column chart again. And there we go. Now, looking at our chart here, you'll notice that there's a problem. And you'll see that in the horizontal axis, it has 1 through 16. And it's got information here. So these represent, in this case, 449 is when we have 2 hours, people watching 2 hours of TV, but it's 3 in our chart. So part of the problem is that Excel has misinterpreted what the graph was supposed to show. So what we're going to do is double click on the chart, and we're going to go to select data. Now, this is going to be the data that we're going to see in our y-axis. So I don't want series 1 in there because series 1 is TV hours, so that's supposed to be on our horizontal axis. So I'm going to click minus to remove it. And so now I click OK, and we're fine as far as we don't have any of the TV hours within our y plotted on here. Now, the problem is we want number of TV hours on our horizontal axis, so that we want this 449 to be represented by 2 hours, not 3, whatever that is just the third data point. So I'm going to click on select data again, and I'm going to highlight column with the TV hours and press OK. And you'll notice now this matches up with our data because we have 2 hours, 449, 6 hours, 75 people. So now one other tip you might want to take is if we are interested in making notes within our spreadsheet, a good idea would be to use a text box. So you click on the Insert tab, text box, and highlight the area you want a text box in. And nice thing about this is we can also format this so that it can be any color you like. So go to the home page. I can fill it with yellow, and I can type in this graph indicates that most people surveyed watch between 1 to 4 hours of TV a week. And so now that's, instead of typing this into a cell or whatever, this can now become part of your project, and you can make notes within any type of spreadsheets you create for later reference.